and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
And we wish you a good morning. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is power. Absolute power in truth. Good morning, Melody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't think the listeners would appreciate that.
They just spit their coffee out, what they did.
Now, we want to draw listeners to us, not send them away. Right?
Hey. Is that some kind of a insult on my singing? What?
No, more on mine. When you come to Maryland and we're at the beach, we'll practice a song and do a song, but we have to practice.
What's practice? Come on. I've got a girlfriend that does karaoke, and she says, I'm not singing with you unless we practice, because I do harmony and it messes everybody up. And I said, what's practice? Come on. Just get up there and do it. Anyway.
Well, there's all kinds of things going on this morning. We have, excuse me, folks, actually we're getting that hurricane snowstorm. They won't call it a tropical storm, but if you look at the storm on the map going up the East Coast, it certainly looks like it certainly has the definition of a hurricane. It has that little old, comma type formation, and it almost looks like it's getting a little bit of an eye in there, but they won't call it a tropical storm. It's just a blizzard warnings, and it certainly has been really, truly amazing, and I'm fingers crossed we keep power and that it doesn't go off while we're doing the show today, Beth.
Yes, don't do that. Don't leave me.
The gold today was, it's coming off its high for the day. It was up a couple bucks. We're only up $1.50, better than being in negative territory. $1,315. Silver's up 5 cents at $17.25. The market, the Dow is going to close above 25,000 today. Of course, the S&P and NASDAQ's been hitting record highs. And this is all based on the jobs report today from the from ADP. And but we'll have to see what the real numbers are when they come out on Friday. So with that, it's we're just going to plug along, and these are all little sugar coatings on a cookie that's crumbling. And so, hey, we'll take the sugar, I guess, if you want to be on that sugar high. And but the crash, and once it crumbles, is not a pleasant place to experience. So,
but I like cookies.
I do too. But I like them better when they're whole and not crumbling.
Yeah.
So again, that's. But it is interesting. We should be the Dow should be closing over 25,000 for the first time, and it really is. I have no doubt when you see the markets increase like we've had, and yes, I know people are going to say, well, maybe the economy is strong, maybe the tax cuts are happening, but usually markets will adjust somehow. And yes, I get that there's algorithms and they do everything, they can overcome a lot of the news or the situation, events, to keep the markets going higher. They don't react emotionally, but yet there's still algorithms that are inputted by people, and certain things are planned and so forth. But it's amazing with this, what's going on with Trump and Bannon is I just can't, I just don't know what to say about it.
Well, I think Bannon's showing his real colors, and you can't believe a man who says one thing and then says something else. I mean, he was adamantly saying here just not too long ago, there's no truth in this, nothing happened, no truth in this, nothing, and now all of a sudden he switched it. But we haven't heard directly from him. It's just been the quotes from this guy, and he's not very reputable, this Wolf guy, apparently. I don't know what you know about him. I don't know anything about him. I'm just what I was surmising from everything that I was reading and what some of the commentators were saying last night, with the exception of one host who would not say anything against him. He said, I want to believe he's a reputable journalist. Well, apparently I think he's proven in the past he's not a reputable journalist. He likes to embellish when he quotes people. And anyway, Newsmax, Todd Beeman, and I read quite a bit of his stuff, he's saying that he's not reputable, that the Washington Post is already throwing cold water on Michael Wolff's book and his quotes. I'm just not buying some of this stuff. Why Bannon is doing it is, I think it is what President Trump said. He's out to, raise himself up. Somebody mentioned last night that he had wanted to run for president. Well, that's not going to work. He has a following, but he doesn't have a loyal following, and they're falling away from him. According to Breitbart itself, they were saying that the people were pretty upset with Bannon for his behavior. It's just like, it's like we're in this Peyton place, this soap opera of life in the political arena, that everything is just crazy. Shuffling papers, I'm sorry. I know that irritates you. It is annoying. Not the paperwork, but what's going on. And it's you're welcome. And it's like, why? I always ask why. What's the purpose? There's always, things don't come out of things don't come out of D.C. Without a purpose. And so what is this? Is Bannon crazy? I'm not a fan of Bannon, and I don't believe Bannon controls the quote-unquote base of Donald Trump. No, he doesn't. I don't believe he does either. No, but again, I have to question, what is really the truth? What is really going on? And I just don't think it's two people's personalities clashes that are going on. I think there might be a good part of that, because Bannon they both definitely have strong personalities. Bannon doesn't like to lose. Bannon lost. Bannon got fired. He was upset over that, and now we find out. I owe Reince Priebus a big apology, because I figured it was Reince. I didn't trust him any farther than I could throw him. But it comes out that it was Bannon all the time doing these leaks from the White House, because he wanted to bring attention to himself. And, there is some personalities. These guys have got tons of personality, not necessarily good personality. But I remember some things that you had said back in, long time ago, when we were discussing about Bannon, and didn't know quite what to think of him. It is curious. It'll be interesting to watch this unfold. But he might have leaked information, but I don't recall. But most of that information he leaked really was true. Now you have information, you have bits of information that's being planted and being released that isn't true. You have news organizations, and they should vet the information before they release it. I get that, and they don't. But still, you have negative information that's being released from somewhere within the White House. I would assume that's where it's coming from. It's, to me, I think when you get into the politics of things, there's always a cover-up somewhere, somehow. And sometimes it isn't the situation, and what they always say, I don't know if it's true or not, but what they say is, it really sometimes isn't the deed, it's the cover-up that makes it so much worse, and with the lies, deceit, and, the original complaint or situation was really nothing. If they had just come out and admitted it, and, said they wouldn't do it again, and let's move on. But they don't do that. They try to cover it up. But things did settle down once they got rid of Bannon and brought Kelly in there. Kelly is doing an excellent job. He is. And he stopped a lot of this turmoil that was going on. Yes, there is still leaking going on. There is still prior administration in there. well, I guess they're appointees from way back. They have not been fired and replaced. It's just going to be interesting to see how this unfolds, but I do not put any kind of legitimacy into this guy's book. You know, everybody wrote a book. I got to write a book. You need to write a book.
I should. I really should write about it.
My kids have been after me. But
I'm not sticking up for Bannon, but you still have to think that there might be some credible information in there. You can't disregard everything. I think what we're seeing, that's all, what they're releasing, I think that's just noise to get people to buy the book. But I bet there's some interesting tidbits in there that I would think that would be, if they were direct quotes from Bannon. And, I always thought Bannon, I don't know, I'm not, it's my opinion, but I always thought he had a problem. I mean, he looks like heck.
Yeah, he does.
If you're healthy, and I'm not saying anything about, his looks. He doesn't look healthy. And so, he might have other problems. You can usually tell, by someone's, what they look
Appearance,
like.
Sometimes. Yeah. There are telltale signs. Yeah. I do think that he's a sour grapes person. I think he was very upset when he was let go from the White House. And, Dr. Gorka was let go as well, and he has not been sour grapes. But anyway, it's interesting, and I do think,
Well, yeah, but he gets paid well, and that's why I don't like that, what was it, the one congressman there, not the Chavez, but what's his name?
Chavez? Not Chavez? I don't know which one you're talking about.
That's always on Fox News.
Chavez is the one.
Is that
He's
the one?
One of them. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, it's, they're getting paid very well by Fox, and.
Well, sure they are.
So.
Sure they are.
It's kind of irritates me.
Well,
they.
It irritates me too. Everybody else gets paid. I'm jealous.
Not that they get paid, but no, it's the reasoning behind it. Why he resigned his position so he can go and make millions of dollars. And, they initially go to D.C. for the people, for their constituents, to do something, to change something, and then they just quit in order to make, so anyway.
I have
a story for another day.
And this is one of those other stories, not necessarily, but this is by Kathy Burke, and it's also, she's just relaying the message from Bill O'Reilly, and it's coming from Newsmax. And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, seriously, this is why I don't trust these political talk show hosts. That would be you and me, too. No, because we're actually fighting.
We actually analyze.
We're not trying to promote one thing or the other, although you did make predictions. We're not trying to do that. But Bill O'Reilly says Romney should run for the Senate. And I'm thinking, why? Romney has proved that he's not a conservative. Romney is proof because he was in Massachusetts, and now he's going to go back to Utah and run for senator, that 17th Amendment should have never been there. That's what has made us career politicians out of the Senate race. You can go and buy your Senate seat. You can go from one state to the other and buy a Senate seat. And I realize that he is actually from Utah. Mm-hmm. But, I hear the music. I want to talk about that just a little bit, and then we'll move on to something that's a little important. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, and we wish you a very good morning. The number to call if you want to join us in conversation is 717-300. 1218. That's 717-300-1218. Melody and Beth Ann.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Have you seen the Left Behind movies? Have you read the Left Behind fictional book series? Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. Because they see the world stage shaping to fulfill what they have been led to believe is sound biblical interpretation, a left behind rapture scenario, this false view of prophecy is reinforced in the mind, not only of its adherents, but also includes those who have been merely exposed to the specific media. Is it possible that false prophecy can be fulfilled? The rapture theories have always been in dispute. Pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib disputes have risen up in exclusively evangelical circles of recent history, so that when true believers don't suddenly disappear, this element will easily go by the wayside when all see a new Jewish temple begin to be built. Will this be part of the great delusion that will come upon the whole earth? It seems that this great prophetic delusion has already overcome practically the entire American evangelical and Christian world. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. To learn more, visit crosstheborder.org. That's CROSS, crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann. In the morning, we've been having quite the conversation as we were on break, talking about this rhetoric, I don't know how else to put it. It's just a bunch of blah, 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 blah. They're hiding something. I believe, and I think Melody believes too, that Republican Party and the Democrat Party have a good thing going on. And they don't want anybody messing it up. And they certainly didn't want Donald Trump messing it up and getting elected, but that happened. But going back to Bill O'Reilly and Romney, and I won't stay there very long. I don't trust Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is big government. He's not a conservative. He proved that when he was governor of, wasn't it, Massachusetts, where he was? Yes. And, of course, now he's just drooling over this Senate seat in Utah. And they said last night if he runs, he's going to get elected because he's very loved in Utah. They think he's just great and wonderful. He is not a true conservative. He is not about we the people, about a republic. He's about big government. And that seems to be the flow of things in D.C. because that's what they're after. They're all after big government. Just like I was saying, and people have come to accept that. And the younger generation thinks that's the way it is. I'm not picking on Ivanka because I don't like Ivanka, but Ivanka had this dream, and she's talking about it at the convention, how we need to help the women and we need to do this and we need to do that. Well, Ivanka, it takes money. Right now, we need to shrink the government and if we get things back in shape, and of course you and I know it's not going to happen like that, but if we could get the economy back into shape and get the taxes down off of the people, and then we could talk about helping other people, but where are the communities that need to be helping these women? Where are those, we can't force employers to offer babysitting and to pay for babysitting and to do this and to do that. It was all nice. It was all wonderful words, but it costs money. But Ivanka's in that generation that believes big government is the way. I don't think her father feels that way, although he's probably more big government than I am. But I think, it goes back, just like we said with Mike Cutler, when we talk about immigration. That's the reason they hated Donald Trump so much, was because he wanted to fix trade and he wanted to fix the immigration problem. And D.C. occupiers occupying offices and cutting deals are getting rich on that scenario. And, the war on drugs and the war on poverty, that was all just a made-up thing. Just a made-up thing. So.
Do you believe, and I'm going to get in trouble for this.
Uh-oh.
Do you believe, Ivanka, and this is again, do you believe that she could really relate to the woman on the street in mainstream media, or not mainstream media, but Main Street, America, when her life, she hasn't lived the life you and I have lived. What did she really have to work for? Doors were open, doors were handed. I'm not saying she's not a hard worker, because, but yet it's a different type of a hard work.
She never worked in the factory on the line.
You don't have to. And I'm not saying that she have to, but my point is, after her beginning of life, can she really relate to the working woman? And I'm not saying working on the factory line. I'm talking about a businesswoman, myself. Can she really relate to the struggles that we have competing, and where we have to work 3 times as hard than someone else in the same position? So can she actually relate and understand, or is this just a function of this is my where I'm going to apply my attention to and see what I can get done? And
it's not that those things wouldn't be nice to help moms out, to help women out. She was talking about families, and they do seem to be very strong on family issues. Now, their family is totally different than, say, my family. Ivanka doesn't know what it's like to go to work in the morning, and before you go to work in the morning, you get these kids up. You have to get them dressed. You have to get them fed. You get them out the door. You get them to school on time. You go to work. You get a phone call once or twice during the day, maybe not every day, but during the week, and you've got to deal with issues. You come back home in the evening. You either picked up the kids, or they walked home, or they got rides after football practice, or whatever the case may be. You start all over again. You get supper ready. You get them ready. They have to go out to play football or go to a concert that they're performing in choirs or something at the school. It's a nonstop thing. Ivanka doesn't know what that is, and it's something that not just women, men do it too. My husband, we were very active together trying to raise tag team, and raising those kids. But Ivanka doesn't live in a world where that happens. Her kids are taken care of for her. Does she love them? Yes. Does she make sure they're taken care of? Yes. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying she doesn't really understand where the average American mom or woman or businesswoman is coming from. She's into a business that her dad created, and so I wouldn't say necessarily job security. I think her dad makes her work very hard. I think he always did. To hear him tell the stories, Don Jr. was one I got a big kick out of, because he tried to pull his little spoiled brat kid attitude on his dad, and it didn't go so well. And that's when he started going to work with him. And, so all kids do that, whether they're rich or whether they're poor or middle class. They all try to pull some stunt like that. Anyway.
Agree. So, I don't know how we got off on Ivanka, but my point was, it's just, so,
well, Bannon and Ivanka didn't get along.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're coming from. And, well, I mentioned big government. That's where we were coming from. But
so with all this going on with Bannon and Trump, it totally eliminates anything else from the news, from Pakistan to what's going on in Iran to, everything else has just sort of been eliminated, and it's all
Korea,
about Trump and Bannon.
Korea had a misfire. Did you know that? North Korea had a misfire. I jokingly made the comment on Facebook, perhaps his food fell on that button on his desk. Anyway, North Korea appears to have accidentally sent a missile crashing down into a city during the test that went awry, and this was back in April when this happened. And he says a new source of intelligence reports revealed on Wednesday. So all his missile tests that he keeps doing, his people are hurting because of what he's doing. And it said he conducted its third test of the previously unseen, I can't pronounce all that. It was an impressive weapon that served as a stepping stone to the development of a longer-range missile. In other words, every time they fail, they learn something. But this hit a community that just wasn't very far from where it was set off. And that had to hurt and kill people. But that wasn't reported, and that was back in April when that happened. So the intelligence is just now coming out on it. It came out yesterday, but nobody was talking about it. This is coming from the Daily Caller, and the writer is Ryan Pickrell, Pickrell. And I thought that was kind of interesting. But again, it's more important about Bannon and Trump going at each other.
Speaking of, there was a report. The Chinese president, Xi Jinping, was ordering his army to prepare for war in a chilling footage in a video. And in the clip, it was filmed this is reported in Central Theater Command on Wednesday. More than 7,000 Chinese servicemen was waiting to hear Xi's New Year's orders. So speaking in front of thousands of troops, the General Secretary ordered his forces to prepare for the event of war. He says, "Here I give my orders. The military at all levels should strengthen military training and war preparedness." And so that is the military should continue to implement actual and joint trainings under combat conditions and continue to conduct strict training in accordance with the outline for military training and evaluation. And so that is a pretty disturbing report. And it is.
Yes. Well, I imagine they're always preparing to some degree, but yes, we're in. We mentioned yesterday the globe is in a turmoil. I know that we've been saying it for a lifetime. Rumors of war, roars and rumors of wars, and I believe we're seeing this. We're experiencing it, unfortunately. Kim Jong-un, he is willing to sacrifice his own people to become this superpower he wants to believe he is. And that is, again, it's a war that never ended, like you said yesterday. It didn't end well for them anyway. They still want the South Korea side. And, it's confusing to me, Melody. I guess it's always about money. It's always about power. With countries and dictators and world leaders and presidents and whatever, senators. But it's confusing to me that we, the people, have really lost who we are. and what this nation is, that we have so many young people pushing for communism or socialism, which is just another word for communism. And I do fear that we might be losing that battle. When we see this rhetoric that takes place between, Laura Ingraham, I've come to kind of understand her a little bit more since she's on TV in the evening. I know you find her annoying, but she was saying last night, what purpose does this serve, this Bannon-Trump banter that's going back and forth? She goes, what purpose could it possibly serve? What was Bannon thinking? What was Donald Trump thinking, as they're, sending their nasty tweets to one another, at least, Donald Trump, President Trump sent out a tweet. He's defending his family because it was very derogatory towards his family. But what brings me to say this is, here's this young person, and this made the news. Here's this young person, and she comes up to Senator Ted Cruz and his wife, and they had their 2 daughters with them. They were at the movies, and this was over the Christmas season. And this young girl wanted to have a photo op with them. So as she gets him there on the photo op, and I guess they're doing a little, I don't know if it's a video or what, but she says to him, say this, let me quote it here. As they got ready to pose, the woman said, say socialism will win. Instead of say cheese, say socialism will win. And it says Cruz didn't miss a beat and responded, it's not going to. But this is a young woman, a millennial, pushing for socialism. Those are the ones that supported Bernie Sanders. And had Bernie Sanders won that primary, there's a chance he'd have been president.
I have no doubt.
It's confusing to me that these children, the millennials, these young people, and not all of them, obviously.
Well, it really isn't. It really isn't confusing when you look to see what the globalist agenda is. It's not confusing at all. I mean, Laura Engel, you just mentioned that she's trying to figure out what this is with Bannon and Trump, with what's going on with the book and everything.
What purpose does it serve?
What purpose? The purpose is conquer and divide. The purpose is we have, and the people of this country, we have lost touch with reality. And so there is no connection to anything. They have broken the ties to our fundamental foundations of this country. That the tie has been broke. That tied us to that. And they take sections. They split. They divide. They divide. And they divide. Now,
first of all, they label all of us, which is the first thing a teacher is supposed to be taught before she teaches school, is you don't label children.
Right.
But they do it anyway. And, I guess confusing is the wrong word, but it's these young people have been fed lies through the public school system and through their universities to believe that socialism is a good thing. And I read something the other day. I might have shared this with you.
They weren't taught that there isn't anything in this world that is free. There comes a day where there is a payback. There is a day of reckoning. And this country really hasn't had a bad day for a very long time. Sure, you could say, 2008, the Great Recession and so forth, but the young people, how were they impacted by that? They didn't have any money. They're still living at home. They're still, they're perennial, they're not perennial, but they go to college forever, and then they want it free. And granted, we're not addressing why tuition is so expensive, that why are they spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for an education? Look at these colleges. I mean, that's a separate program in itself.
It is, and it's the same thing.
The amount of money that these college and universities make with their sports programs, heaven's sakes. And again, the kids pay through it with tuition. It's not much different than us as citizens of this country.
And then they pay to go to the games.
Yeah, but you see the same thing happening with our government. It continues to grow, and we're fed a bunch of baloney, and a lot of people, believe it, and we end up paying for it. But that's what it is. It's white noise. It's noise. We've kind of lost touch with reality as far as the fundamentals of this country, and with government and what the politicians are supposed to be doing in D.C. And it's all about dividing. This thing with Trump and Bannon. Now you're going to have. You're going to have the one side of the political arena, standing up for Trump and perhaps as they should be, and then you're going to have the other side that is there's a lot of things going on and so forth. So basically, they're dividing again. They're dividing another group, they're creating it's chaos.
If Steve Bannon wanted to do what he said several months back, about supporting those officials running for office that were true conservatives, then he would not have done this. But if he wants to point the attention at Steve Bannon and say, look at me, I got him elected, that ungrateful so-and-so, and, that's what I see happening. And it is a distraction, and it is telltale of who he is. And, then the fact that we have...
And we can do that with every politician in D.C. They all have a history. They all have the same type personalities and so forth.
I guess they have to have somewhat of an ego, Obviously, they have, more of an outgoing personality. That's why they are where they are. He could have accomplished something, and now he's ruined it. So did he really care about bringing America back home, as I say on CSC Talk Radio? Did he really care about restoring the republic, or did he care about just pointing his fingers at Steve Bannon? Now, like I said, this guy did all this quoting of Steve Bannon, and we have not heard directly from Steve yet. And so it was interesting watching the pundits last night, and those who have, I told my husband yesterday, I said, well, it's going to be interesting to see what Dr. Gorka says and Sheriff Clark. But I have not heard from Sheriff Clark yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what he says about Bannon. Gorka said, Steve's a big boy, he can speak for himself, and I kind of liked that. So, anyway.
Yeah, I just think it's all a distraction, and who knows?
I think you're right.
Maybe it's a plan. Maybe it is actually a planned distraction.
Could be.
I mean, I've heard of worse conspiracy theories than that one, so.
Well, and while those are going on, other things are happening, and nobody, it's like you've said before, while they were going after Trump for other things, Trump was getting some stuff done, and nobody was paying any attention, And here's one that I thought is kind of sad. He's not giving it up. He's just changing how he's doing it. And this is another one that's coming from Todd Beeman. But it says on the title of this that Trump dissolves the Troubled Voter Fraud Commission. He did this yesterday. Despite substantial evidence of voter fraud, many states have refused to provide us with basic information relevant to its inquiry. Rather than engage in an endless legal battle, today I signed an executive order to dissolve the commission and have asked the Department of Homeland Security to review these issues and determine the next course of action. So, he did this, and everybody was happy about it. We want to know what the voter fraud is. We want to know what's going on. But the states, particularly the ones that are predominantly Democrat, refused to cooperate, which was just, it was just dead end because they weren't going to cooperate. Do people not care whether we have voter fraud? We talked yesterday we kind of chuckled about the signs going up in the state of California because Democrats need votes. That's why they've become a sanctuary state. That's why these sanctuary cities are there, because they need votes. The Democrats need votes. When are the American people going to realize that we have been invaded? That we have been invaded, that we the people have lost the republic to their so-called wonderful democracy, which is what our founding fathers did not want. When are we going to realize that we have become big government socialistic instead of independent republic? When are we going to realize that? When are the American people going to completely wake up?
When they are hungry.
I think you're right. When we're hungry.
Yep.
When we see, you know...
And there's lots of different types of hungry, too, but I think when their bellies hurt, that's when they'll wake up the
They'll realize, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, they're not helping. They're not helping at all. Well, you know, Meryl Streep, she's going to stand up for women. You know that, right?
Oh. Well, I'm beginning to shake and quiver in my boots.
They're all going to wear black, you know.
Oh, good grief.
You know, I wear black because it makes me look slimmer. They're going to wear black. She's such a hypocrite because she knew that this guy was up to no good, this Weinstein or whatever his name is. She knew it and she ignored it. Now she's calling on Ivanka and Melania because Donald Trump is a terrible sexist and they shouldn't be staying quiet. You mean like you did, Meryl?
Yeah.
Meryl, we just wish you'd stay quiet now. She's somebody that doesn't know what the average American woman goes through on a day-to-day basis either. That's all Hollywood knows is sleeping around.
She's an overrated actress. I never liked anything that she was in. She's way overrated.
Wasn't she the one with Goldie Hawn when they were all, the two of them were fighting for to stay youthful, and then they were just blowing each other up, and they couldn't die because they had taken some
I think
curse
so.
or something.
Yeah, I think so. But, I mean, she was way overrated, and, you know, her relationship with Weinstein, whatever that may be. I mean, that's, when you're not a great actress, that's how you get ahead.
Yeah. Well, now she's trying to make up for it because she's going to wear black to remind everyone that women have been oppressed. We're heading into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. Melody and Beth Ann, I don't know, do you feel oppressed, Melody? We'll be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. And we're in the final segment of today's show already. And this is Thursday already. It was a short week because we took Monday off. We had a holiday.
Yes, we did.
Did you have a holiday?
I had a holiday. And tomorrow we have Open Mic Friday.
Yes, we do.
We'd like to hear, we love all our callers, so don't take this wrong, but we really do encourage some new callers. We want to hear from you and let us know how we're doing and what topics you would like to hear us discuss more. And also you can always email me at powertalks@yahoo.com. powertalks@yahoo.com. We don't give that out enough.
No, we don't. We forget.
And hopefully, I think by the not by the end of this month, but we're going to start working on maybe a very simple little website that, of course, maybe you can go there and be able to, give some feedback and so forth right from. And it's just going to be a very simple little website, and so we'll make that announcement when that happens. But I'm not going to expect that maybe till next month for it to get completed. But it is on the agenda. It's on my to-do list. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, Open Mic Friday. And I just wanted to make, and there's really strange things going on. You have Mount St. Helens. That's rumbling.
Oh, is it really? I have not seen that.
Yes, it is. And so you got that going on. You had, let's see if it has any details on there, since New Year's Day. They have experienced 40 earthquakes within its vicinity. As aftershocks continue every few hours, the most powerful earthquake was a magnitude 3.9 that occurred around midnight West Coast time, about 5 miles from Mount St. Helens and 23 miles from the town of Morton. And that earthquake, the 3.9 magnitude, was felt in Portland, but of course there were no injuries or any types of damage. And it's common to experience swarms of earthquakes. And the recent earthquakes appear to be both from regional stress and from the volcano itself. So it's kind of interesting. They say this really isn't a sign of an impending eruption. However, these earthquakes are a result of an active volcanic system. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, so you have that activity going on, and today, I believe, if I can get back to that report, you have in California, they had a 4.4 earthquake. Let me see if I can pull it up. I just got an email from one of our listeners, and I don't have it in front of me if I can go back to that. But he's reporting that there was let me see if I can keep wasting a little time here while I pull that up here. Okay. Sorry, folks. There was a 4.4 Richter scale earthquake in Berkeley, California.
Oh, Berkeley, where the university is, huh?
Berkeley, yes.
It's a rumbling.
We're having this extreme cold and certainly the blizzard that has gone up the East Coast. So a lot of little strange things are.
Melody's getting hit pretty hard there where she lives. It's turned winter, blustery day, as Winnie the Pooh would say. It's a blustery day.
And
we have sunshine here, but it's still cold.
There's also, I believe, at the end of this month, There is going to be the first blue moon total lunar eclipse in 150 years.
Wow. Blue moon.
So it's a combination.
In the night. I'm sorry.
The moon will turn blood red. It's the first eclipse of 2018. It's going to be a lunar one. It comes at the end of the month, January 31st. It will be a total eclipse that involves the second full moon of the month, and they refer to that as a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon.
The eclipse will take place during the middle of the night, and so this is 150 years since the last one. Kind of interesting, and and I would think that would also have impacts on the weather. So because it has impacts on water, the tides.
Moon has a lot to do with a lot of things. It certainly does. We do have a caller. He's waited till the last of the segment to call in. We have Neil from Missouri. Neil, real quick, because we're running out of time.
Okay. Yeah, you were talking about the problem with the younger generation. Well, the problem with the younger generation is the same as with all the generations. Nobody knows anything about the law, or they know little or nothing about it. They know thou shalt not steal, but that's about the extent of what they know. And that's the fault mainly of the phony churches out there. They're teaching the law is done away with. They're claiming the law is no longer in effect because Christ did away with it. I've yet to have anybody show me where it says that in the Bible anywhere.
No, he says he fulfilled it. He fulfilled the law.
He fulfilled it by becoming the sacrifice for the violation thereof. And that's what did away with the blood sacrifices and the priestly ordinances. That's the only thing that was done away with. Not the
church I go to doesn't teach
that have been the same from the beginning.
And when you say churches in general, that's generalizing. But the churches I go to, they teach the law. You have to obey the law.
Right. And the only law there is the law of God. And any time the law of man conflicts with that law, you need to stand up in court and tell them so. And it does work.
Right.
So, sometimes it depends on how corrupt the judge is.
Yeah,
usually you can bring the Bible out in the courtroom and you get them to back off. Sometimes you can't get these judges to back off. I've had them call me a Pharisee more than once in court. So, but in fact, they're the ones that are Pharisees because they are teaching for doctrine the commandments of men. Mark 7:7, exactly what Christ accused them of doing, 2,000 years ago. They're still doing the same thing today, except now the black-robed Pharisees are the ones sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
You're right. Neil, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
For the reminder. Appreciate it for the reminder. Melody, I think every generation talks about the younger generation. I know that my folks talked about us, and we do have good young people, though. I see them in the crowds when I go out and speak. I do see them. I have lots of grandkids and my kiddos and stuff, and they're good.
Yes, they are.
But they are busy. We stay so busy, and Neil had talked about, survival the other day. And what he says is true, but it's not always applicable. I guess you would have to make it that way. You would have to make that a new lifestyle, a new life change. And when you've got family, it's more difficult. I think that's why Paul said it's better that I do not marry, because life made it a lot easier for him to evangelize with not having to drag a wife and kids around. But that's not, the Lord wants us to have those families, and they do take time, and they change things around, and having a business like you do. And it's I don't know. There's lots to think about and lots to prepare for. You are listening to Power Talks, and we are just about out of time. Melody, you want to put a plug in for Discount Gold and Silver? What's going on?
We're having a great year. We ended last year great with gold and silver. We're running a special on the 2018 Silver Eagles, 1 ounce American Silver Eagles. We're going to continue that for, until we actually get them in office and so forth, which will be a couple of weeks. They're being released today by the U.S. Mint, and until they trickle down for actual shipment, it'll be about a week or two. But 2018, for 20 or more, it includes free shipping. And, of course, if you buy the monster boxes of Silver Eagles, you'll get even a bigger discount on your price of the Silver Eagles. They're very competitively priced. I've done my online shopping. shopping comparison, and we're very, very competitive. So they just need to pick up the phone, look at your portfolios, and call Discount Gold and Silver at 1-800-375-4188. And I want to encourage everyone to make sure you go to the website, dgscoins.com, sign up for our weekly newsletter. It usually comes out on Mondays if I get too busy, or sometimes it might go out Tuesday. Or if there's a holiday like there was this week, it actually went out Tuesday. But normally it goes out on Monday. And we're also doing a little blog later on in the week also, so you can sign up for that at the website for the newsletter, and then you'll automatically get the little midday or midweek blog, and we'll also have specials attached to that. So we're out of time.
We are out of time. We need to be thinking about liberty and freedom and independence, and if we're not thinking about those, so anytime we talk about this news that's going on, or our Constitution or our Bill of Rights, you need to think about freedom, liberty, and independence. And we will be back tomorrow with Open Mic Friday. Melody, you have a wonderful afternoon.
Same to you, Beth, and to the
and
listeners.
Stay safe. Stay in the house and stay safe.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, thank you.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800 375-4188.